I forgot to tell you that, you know, this small line on the head of the dick, it was painted by Natalia Sokol, and she had her son Kasper on her back. And when the security guard was rushing towards her to beat her up, when he saw a child, he kind of stopped, freaked out, and ran away towards another activist. So, yeah. And one wall wasn't finished because one of the activists was stopped by a security guard. So our dick has asymmetric walls. The second action is Crazy Lenya on top of fats. Crazy Lenya is a nickname of Leonid Nikolaev. We call him crazy because he is very brave. Brave on the point of like craziness, I think. This action is a funny one, and it's my favorite. I think he imitated a car crash in the Kremlin embankment. He crashed into a car, symbolically crashed into a car of the security protective service. Yeah. Что? Yeah, I'm just gonna... Okay, we're gonna show it. I will. And this is an example of how one person can actually symbolically go against the system. The next section is called How to Snatch a Chicken. And this is a chapter from our handbook for an anarchist. And by this action, we show how you can get food without money. And this action was held under the slogan "Безблядно," which it's difficult to translate, but it means without whoring. And in ancient Russia, whore meant lie and deceit. And so we kind of say that we can live without money and without lies in nowadays Russia. This action is not for nervous people, you know. If you feel that you can freak out, you can leave right now. Yeah. And Alex says that if someone is has some issues, sexual issues, you better leave now.
просто огромный. Засеется, нажалуйся, что вы рекомендовали.
Смотря что он будет сидеть. Мы хотим зафиксировать. Ну, а что не пойдет?
То есть выдох и без выгляда. Да, ну я знаю. Стоп. Стоп, да. Хорошо, все. Я просила вас, отдадим. Сейчас это телефон весь. Давайте быстро отсюда. Хорошо, я ухожу. Снимите оттуда. Ты чего это пришла? Не надо, не надо, но осторожно. Что ты делаешь? Да мне понимаешь, что говорили. Не понимаешь, что говорили. Мобильный телефон семья. Ну, что такое? Найти не надо. Найти. Так, слушай. Ну, осторожно. Сказала осторожно. Мне нужно найти. Что это такое вообще здесь? Что ты ведешь себя здесь? Вот зачем ты стараешься? Затем, что вы идиоты.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
We think that today a supermarket seems to everyone like a castle of, like a palace of consumerism, and food is not it stopped being a right. You know, you have a right to eat, you have a right for food, but it became a privilege. You have to fight for food, and especially in poor countries, and that's why we show how you can fight in this way with this system of consumerism. Also, I forgot to tell that activists were holding those pieces of carton on which this slogan was written with sheet, and they were showing those cartoons into the surveillance cameras, so the security guards of the shop could see this slogan.
Only he.
Yes, and only he could see it because the cameras were situated in different areas of this supermarket.
Это вообще плевок в сторону корпорации.
And Alex says that it was I don't know. Okay, I don't know how to translate it. The next action is called "Nobody Gives a Fuck About Pestin." It was, first of all, I want to tell you who Pestel is. Pestel was one of first Russian revolutionaries. In 1825, he and another noble man in Russia were fighting for freedoms and against the monarchy. They were fighting for freedom for enslaved peasants. And their revolution act was stopped by the army, and Pestel was executed through hanging next year. And yes, there were 5 Decembrists who were executed in 1826. And by this action, we wanted to revive the idea of freedom in Russia, and we wanted to make people think about those first revolutionaries and as an example for nowadays Russians. We held this action in a huge supermarket, Ashan, in the Department of Light, and there were 5 people who were executed. 3 of them were illegal immigrant workers, and 2 homosexuals, and 2 homosexuals, one of whom was a Jew. And this action was a gift to the authorities of Moscow, to the mayor, who was pursuing the policy of xenophobia, homophobia, and slavery. Mm-hmm.
офицеры, как свеч вашу веру на разрытых могилах ваши души хрипят. Что ж мы, братцы, наделали, не смогли уберечь их, и теперь они вечно в глаза нам.
Почему он так серьезно? Ну, скажи, что это я предложил тест.
Алик, что?
Что не надо так серьезно?
Alex just asked me to tell you that you shouldn't be that serious because our actions are full of irony and satire, and you can actually laugh if you want to. The next action is called Cock in the S, and it's a punk concert. Voina secretly carried guitars and amplifiers and microphones into a courtroom of the federal court, where the hearing of the case against contemporary art curator Andrei Yerofeev was held, and all the stage equipment we stole in the nearby shops, and And Pussy Riot activists who are now in prison. They were former Voina members, and they took this action as an inspiration for their actions. And this Cock in the S action was held in 2008, in 2009. And this idea belongs to Oleg Vorotnikov. When the hearing started and the judge came, the activists jumped onto benches and started singing a song, "All cops are bastards, you ought to remember it." And Natalia and Nadezhda Tolokonnikova and Katerina Samutsevich, they are pupils of Oleg Vorotnikov and Natalia Sokol, and
Никто фамилию не знает. Пусть
да, я сказала.
Еще раз. Не надо имя, фамилию много, пусть рай.
Окей, let's watch it. Ты мне очень сильно мешаешь, когда я говорю что-то. Бери мышку. 2 раза нажми на экран. Можно остановить на секунду?
Что такое?
So the situation in Russian courts is so weird that cops, they didn't know what to do, because one of our activists shouted to the judge, "I'll drop for money later," and it's a normal situation when judges take money, and everything can happen in a court, and the guards, they were not informed whether it was on purpose and it was authorized or it was not. And when they were trying to figure out whether they have to arrest activists or not, Voina succeeded in escaping. The next action is called Feast. It's a wake for our good friend. He was an artist and a poet, Dmitry Alexandrovich Prigov. And we held this wake in a train carriage of the circular line of the Moscow metro. And we made a full circle in memory of Prigov.
Поддавшись чужому углю, все смыслил безумно и ясно, и сказал тем не менее «люблю».
Yeah, Palace Revolution. It's an art installation in the center of St. Petersburg, next to the entrance to the State Russian Museum. And okay, we have to hurry.
Ты можешь говорить, какие меня не спрашивают? Не скандал, говорит, что мне не говори, какие, спроси меня тоже, мое мнение тоже. Я тут стою, живу человек, спроси меня. Не надо ничего, все. Ну, смотри, это будет 35 минут, что-то 25 минут видео, фото, видео. Это фиксируем сразу война. Порез, посадка, дам себе руку, и работать очень быстро понимаем.
After this section, Leonid Nikolaev and Oleg Worotnikov were arrested, and they spent 3.5 months in a Russian jail. And British artist Banksy helped us to bail them out. He sold his Choose Your Weapon pictures and transferred $120,000. $20,000 were spent on bail, and $100,000 are now spent to help political prisoners in Russia. For instance, food parcels are bought for this money and are sent to jails. The thing is that the Russian prison are like hell. The conditions there are unbearable. The food usually the food is almost poison, and they don't have warm clothes. They don't get any medical treatment, and it's a matter of honor to help them in such a difficult time in their lives. When Oleg Воротников and Leonid Nikolaev were bailed, of course they never showed up for any interrogations, and very soon Russian cops put Oleg first on the federal wanted list and afterwards on the international wanted list, together with his wife Natalia Sokol. And the funny thing about the international alert is that Voina activists they were deprived of their rights, and they don't have any IDs, so they can't leave the country. And Alexei decided to start this mockery action, which shows that Russian cops are so stupid that they are looking for artists abroad, those artists who can't leave the country, they can't cross the border. And this is the face of Oleg Воротников behind prison bars. An actual. So Voina Wanted Action, it's a solidarity action not only with Oleg Воротников, but also with all political prisoners and artists who are being persecuted by police, not only in Russia but all over the world. And Voina Wanted is a part of the action Political Prisoners. In this picture you can see the face of Taisia Osipova. She is a political prisoner too. She was sentenced to 8 years in prison. She has already spent 2 years in pre-trial detention. Russian cops planted drugs in her apartment, and since her husband is a leader of the opposition movement, and he is one of the first people in Other Russia party. Russian authorities are trying to intimidate her husband this way, and they are trying to manipulate the opposition movement by keeping Taisia hostage. She suffers from severe type of diabetes, and most likely she won't survive because we can't get her medical medicine in time. How we do this action? We usually we have this banner here in Hamburg, for example. It was 3 by 4 meters, and we took this banner and installed it in some significant places here. One was Michel Church, and this banner could be seen from a long distance, and we also put this banner in front of the entrance to the Spiegel newspaper building. And this action actually not only draws attention to political prisoners, but also tests the level, the observance of human rights and freedoms in Europe. And here in Spiegel, it was a funny situation when we put this banner, and the head of security came to us and he said, well, you have to put this banner away 2 meters away from the entrance. And when we did it, he came up to us once again and he said, no, it's not enough, you have to move away. And when we asked him why, he told us about this private territory, which actually doesn't exist, and he said that we can get 2 years in prison, which obviously is a farce. And so, but it's okay. This situation is okay. When we were, for example, when we were in Bucharest, we were making this action in the Revolution Square in front of the Ministry of Home Affairs, and the Revolution Square is the place of freedom. Revolution took place there when the Soviet Union collapsed, and there we were arrested immediately. We didn't even had a chance to unfold the banner. In Barcelona, when we were going through the city with this banner, we were followed by cops, and we were accompanied by our friend, German artist Boris Hopek, and at some point we left this banner in his car, and cops, when we left the car, cops approached it, and they broke into the car, and Boris saw them doing it, and when he came up to them and said, "What are you doing? You don't have the right to do it. You don't have any search warrant. You don't have an arrest warrant." They didn't explain themselves. They just took it and left. Here, this is the embankment of Barcelona, and this is Sagrada Familia. This is the banner installed on Berlin Wall. This is the facade of the Bucharest of the Romanian Parliament. This is the Palace of Justice. Those are Romanian activists. So, что я хотела сказать? Ты меня сбиваешь.
Я тебе помогаю.
Что я должна
сказать? Мы хотим видео показать, как мы работаем с этим баннером в реальной жизни.
And we want to show you the video of how we work with this banner in real life. And sometimes we, well, by this action, you test how people react and how cops are trying to deal with activists, and whether there is real freedom in Europe or it's just an illusion, and we just don't notice how this space of freedom is shrinking around us.
Скажи, что это последнее видео, и мы закончим.
And this will be the last video, and we will finish.
Скажи, что это в Кракове.
This section it's a series of action held in Krakow, Poland. В этом году?
Да, в
This
мае
year,
этого года.
May of 2012.
Май, июнь.
Something is wrong with the loudspeakers, I think. Не знаю, что с ним.
Ten do więzienia! Mam rękę na rowerze, jeszcze nic nie jadłem.
Przerwaliście wykład uczelni. Weszliście po prostu w przestrzeń, na której się odbywało nauczanie. Bez żadnych, bezpretensjonalnie, po chamsku, bez przepraszam, bez niczego. No też w ten sposób Państwo zapisali wykład. Rozumiecie panowie? Nie będzie przeszkadzać, że pan nie będzie. No proszę pana. Proszę pana. Informacja do pana, że nie może na nieruchomym rowerze tego pełnić. Prosiłem, żeby pan wyszedł z tego wykładu. Pan się nie zastosował. Ale pan na
że jest pan gotów wejść na uczelnię i zabrać studenta z zajęć, dlatego że pan nie który student ma to zajęciami. To jest taki sam wypadek, który jest to
publiczna uczelnia.
Odbywają się również w takich miejscach.
To są badania terenowe, to co teraz robimy i proszę nam nie przeszkadzać. Proszę nie niszczyć materiałów wizualnych, które służą
No właśnie, rozwiązania budowlanego przez Wiedziałem, że mogę podać. Mam prawo.
Chciałam zwrócić panu uwagę na ten panel, ponieważ my tam też zajmujemy przestrzeń miejską i chciałam, żeby panu podać.
Nie odwoję się. Potem jest bezpieczna pani
Super, bardzo się cieszę.
Chłopcy są chamskie, autorskie bezczelne. Nie można nazwać ich absurdem.
To jest nasza demokracja! To jest nasza demokracja!
I have many questions, but I already have had the chance to give. So I'm now first will have plans in the auditorium. I could imagine some of you are having questions or remarks. Or are you kind of overwhelmed and unable to talk? So it's
Unable
your
to
chance
talk.
to have questions. Very something.
To the hiding the chicken in the vagina. What does the society thought about it? How do you get feedback on this video? What happened afterwards?
Well, our art is free, and we publish it on the internet, and we use internet as a weapon, and any person can just come to Alexei's blog, for example, and all actions, you can review all Voina actions, watch videos, and usually people leave comments, and some of them like what we do, and usually right-wing activists and religious fanatics, they hate what we do, and they always write some complaints to the prosecutor's office, trying to start criminal cases against us, and there are around 20 of them already, and and that's why we are keeping a low profile, trying to escape arrest all the time.
But this there's also start a discussion about it, under each other,
Yeah, you know.
Blog, is the conversation starting, or is it just?
I didn't get it quite well.
The against the pro and the contrast. Does they start a conversation with each other?
Well, usually the conversations are funny, and people. Some people are full of hatred, and they want us to be dead. They tell contemporary art is shit, and you are shit, and you have to die. We want to shoot you with machine guns. We want to to crush you with caterpillar tractors, and And Alex, by the way, he created a poem. And called it Anti-Manifesto of the Voina group, and this poem is it was created from those right-wing radicals' comments and people who hate Voina. And those comments, they show how contemporary art in Russia is treated, how what people feel about contemporary art in Russia.
That I think the best activists are the ones who are active and avoid going to jail.
Yes, of course. Yes, usually the actions are planned for many months, and there are a lot of details that have to be thought through. And Natalia Sokol, for example, she plans actions, when it starts, when it ends, and we plan different ways of escape for activists. And of course, we are very concerned for activists' safety. And Oleg and Leonid, they were not arrested during the action. They were arrested afterwards when they left St. Petersburg and went to Moscow, and the cops just broke into their apartment. So I think that at the action, not very often activists are being arrested.
Like when you say you're planning like your activism, and I mean, you always like, there's always, mostly in the videos, a child by your side.
Yeah.
Is it the idea of using a child like a shield?
Oh my gosh! Everyone asks this question. It's something crazy. No, the child you saw, his name is Kasper, and he is the son of Oleg Wortnikov and Natalia Sokol. And you know, when you have a child, you never leave him with other people because you love him, you take care of him, and he participates in some actions. Yes, and we never use children as shield. No, we take care of them. We love them.
Good.
Thanks.
Just a short question. How is your understanding of war as you chose your group to be named that way?
Well, first of all, we are waging an information war, not a real one. In our actions, we avoid violence, and there is usually no violence on our part, and we even avoid vandalism when we can, because in this action, with the dig on the bridge, the white color, it was mixed with water, so it could be very easily removed from the bridge. When the car was overturned, the only thing that was broken, it was this side mirror, nothing more. And at the initial stages of this criminal case, cops said that the damage was around $20, because it's a Russian car, you know, and the details, they are not very expensive. And afterwards, when they decided to persecute the group more severely, they made this sum bigger, and they just made it up. There was almost no damage.
One more question, like, it's more particular about Pussy Riot, but what do you think about that if, like, Putin wouldn't have put them to jail, that he would have, like, what do you call it in English, not really respected the law? He would have reacted like a dictator, actually, because, like, there's a law against hooliganism if you say, like, entering a church and, like, singing punk songs in a church is like a hooligan act. And,
well,
I mean, I don't know.
You didn't quite get this section, because what they did, they came to this cathedral, they danced, maybe they sang, but it wasn't loud, and they were removed from this cathedral very fast. Then at home or at the studio, they recorded this song, they put this song and video together and posted it on the internet. And this is not a big deal. Anyone can do it, actually. And I think in Germany you can do it, and you won't be put to prison for 2 years. The most interesting part of this action is reaction of the authorities. It was disproportionate. And the success of this action all over the world is this reaction of the authorities. Because this reaction, it took off the mask from Russian government, from the Russian church. Now you realize their real nature. You realize that they work together. That they are. You cannot separate church from the authorities. And I think in this sense, this action was very successful.
So they didn't actually sing in the church?
No.
Pretending?
Yes, of course, they were doing like this, and like, it's not a hooliganism.
Yeah, of course. I didn't know that.
Yeah.